Hi everyone, Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters, and thank you for joining me for a Kitaholic Kits design team layout. So for this layout, I decided to pull out my super old and grungy texture paste that's not smooth at all and mix it with a little bit of black paint. Now it won't make a strong black, obviously, because it's getting mixed with white. It'll go a little bit more grayish, but that's okay. I just want to try and get it as dark as I can. So I'm super smushing this around, helping the texture paste to loosen up a little bit and become a little bit more smooth, so it'll be easier to use with my stencil, and also just to make sure it's fully mixed in. I could have added a little bit more paint to this to help make it a little bit darker, but I thought I'd try putting in some Heidi Swap Color Shine in black, just a little dribble. I was hoping maybe the ink would make it a little bit darker, and if not, the sort of shine effect might work. I don't think it did anything, but that's okay. I put it in anyway. So I'm just going to leave that as it is and work with it being a little bit more grey, and that's okay. Then I got the gorgeous sort of starburst or fireworks stencil, can't remember what it's called, sorry, and just put it on messy. I don't want it to be a perfect square, and I want it to stick out behind the cluster that I'm going to put up in the top left hand corner. So I just want it to be a little bit messy, a little bit winky wonky, just to add a little something behind the page. So I did go and wash the stencil because I do want this to be really clean. So yes, I definitely went and cleaned off that stencil so I didn't get any sort of black smudges happening on the rest of the white paper. Once I have finished this second one, this cluster is a little bit bigger, so it almost is the entire square. I am going to scrape the rest of that texture paste into a little, Tupperware container and save it for another time. I'm hoping my container is airtight, touch wood, and so the next time I need black texture paste, I already have it ready. So spritzed on a little bit of gold splatters again. I love my gold splatters. I include those on every single page, I think. Got a few bigger ones and smaller ones just to help lift that up a bit. So what I was just showing you very, very quickly then is that I just stapled like stacks and stacks and stacks of scraps together. They've got stuff cut out of the centers, like actually every single one has stuff cut out of the centers, but I just made sure that you could see a little bit of the color, a little bit of the layers poking out beside. And then I'm using that super big ephemera piece that says happy, and I'm going to stick that flat. It's not really flat because there's a lot of scrap paper in a pile there, but it's kind of flat. So I'm going to stick that down onto the page. It's a tiny bit wonky, so I caught it just in time to straighten it up. And it's going to be part of my title, and I'm going to put the word celebrate. So my title is sort of really celebrate, but because, happy celebrate doesn't really make sense, but we are happy. And so I've done the same as well with this next one. Again, it is just piles and piles and piles of all of my scraps. I don't really have any scraps left now at this current stage. Again, I will make some more when I do some more layouts, but at the moment, that is all of my scraps all piled together. How are you going with your new kit? I'm going really well. I have made, what have I made? I have made 8 layouts, I think. 8 12 by 12 layouts. So I'm really happy with how much I'm getting out of my collections. So my photo itself is just on one plain white mat because obviously there's so much happening underneath it with all of those piles of paper. Then I really want that ice cream to go on because there's something in front of Katie in our Zoom photo that maybe it's like a drink bottle or something that just doesn't need to be there. So I'm trying to cover that up. This is a Zoom image of my mum's birthday. So Katie's got cupcakes and we've got party hats on and a happy birthday sign behind us. And we had a cake too, but you can't see ours in the photo. So I just wanted this to be, not really about COVID at all, more about celebrating Mum's birthday, but it was just done a little bit differently this year. So obviously in my journaling, when I do that later on, I will mention it as well. So just layering up a few little bits of ephemera, but there's not a lot that's going to happen because I feel like with all the layers of paper and the mixed media in the background, I don't really need much else on this page. It's pretty, I love the white space, and I think what's happening on it is just about enough. So I'm going to pop a couple, I need a little bit of extra foam behind these flowers to pop those up, and I'm going to pop a couple of these on the page. I love these butterflies. I think I said flowers, but I meant butterflies. I could use 100 of these butterflies. They're just the best. So I do feel it's missing something, so I went and grabbed my Tim Holtz Tiny Word Phrases, the Occasions booklet, and I'm pulling out some happy birthday ones of those because I think they will just help tie in the black in the background of the mixed media and just add to the birthday feel of this entire layout. And then once I've done that, I think I'm pretty much done. I am going to sneak on another butterfly, I think, because, you know, I love them so much. And then a few rhinestones. And then I think that is all. No Heidi Swap Colour Shine because I've already done it. Let me see. Everything is stuck down. Oh, do I want one more? Yeah, go on. Go on. Need to have 3. Can't just have 2. So then I am going to pull out my rhinestones, and I've got a huge stash of rhinestones that are all out of their packaging and are starting to get dry and used up. So I've got to get those onto a page ASAP before they all get too dry. I mean, I can still glue them on. It just makes them harder to store because they end up all falling off their packaging and being a big mess in the bottom of the bag. So the sooner I can use those up, the safer I have of not ending up with a mess of rhinestones everywhere. So those are gold, the larger ones are gold, and then I'm going to pull out a little pink one as well because I feel like there's a lot of pink on this layout. I actually don't get to do pink all that often, having 2 boys. So seeing as it's Mum's birthday and it is ended up being a little bit pinky, I'm going to roll with it and use pink. So once I've done that, oh, that's what I decided to do. I remember now. I pulled my very last 4 scraps, and yes, they are that tiny that they could have just gone in the bin. I pulled my very last 4 scraps, and I'm going to make a little torn edge on my page. So I cut a little semicircle out, and then I rough up that little semicircle with my scissors, and then I'm going to stick some color behind it. Now I could just use one color, that would be totally fine, but I had 4 scraps, so I'm going to use 2. So I put a little bit there, and then I get the next one and I'm going to layer it on as well, but I am going to rough up this the smaller one. I'll rough it up as well and add it along the edge. So I just discovered this whole tearing a tiny little bit off the side of the page. I'm a little bit late to the party, I must admit. And I really love it. But I find myself, if I just tear, I end up making a mess. So I tend to, or tear it too much or something drastic. So I tend to cut it with scissors and then rough it up. And that seems to be working better for me. Just gives me a little bit more accuracy in how I want to tear it, and a little bit more control as to what the shape and how it's torn. So I'm just going to stick that in now. There's that one. Can I get it quite right? There we go. Rough up that edge. And then I'll stick on the second one and cut that smooth and straight. And then I'm going to do the same. I won't make you watch it, but I'm going to do the same down along the bottom left. Bottom left of my page, and you'll be able to see how that works out in the close-ups. And then because I haven't put my Tim Holtz word stickers away yet, I'm just going to do a few more because you can never have too many. So pop another one up on the rainbow because I just thought that was cute. So here is my finished layout. I'm really happy with how this came out. The colors I think are just super striking. Just that little bit of black mixed media in the background really lifts it, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it has helped you to create something as well. I will see you next time, guys. Thank you so much.